This is a sad story here. This next one.
This is a story about these two young people. They had a baby.
Young couple.
Mm-hmm. And she went in to have her child like normal.
Mm-hmm. Labor.
Labor. And there was a complication.
She had a complication.
There was a complication. And the surgeon allegedly, I have to say allegedly until they put everything in there, was trying to pull the baby out.
Mama said they waited too late to do any cesarean on her, which was part of the reason why as well.
She tried to pull the baby out, and according to an investigation, she decapitated the child.
Trying to pull it out.
Then when it was time, when it was time to, they had to do a C-section then.
They had to.
When they did the C-section, they pulled the baby out. She still didn't know the baby was decapitated. So they pulled the body out and the head was not with it.
Oh, so they tried to do the other way.
The other way first.
That's what I was telling Mom.
No, they did the other way first.
Thank you, because mine don't make sense for a C-section to have that issue.
Yes.
Now coming through the normal channel.
Yes.
Yes.
They tried to have a normal pregnancy, and that's when the doctor was trying to get it out. And decapitated the baby, according to what the
baby. What did he do? Cut it? I don't understand.
No,
probably the way it was pulled out. It wasn't pulled out properly.
We'll play the video that talks about it.
Yeah.
So then they did the C-section, and then that's when they pulled the baby out, and the head was not with it, and they pulled the head out. But they didn't. The point I'm trying to make is they didn't tell her. She didn't know her baby was decapitated. So then what her lawyer said is, you know how they told her the baby was dead, most times he said, I've done 100 cases where the parent, sues the hospital, whatever, the baby that passes away.
Hospital's fault.
Every hospital lets you at least hold the baby. Even though the baby is passed away.
Can't hold that one.
They didn't let her hold the baby.
No, not without a head.
They didn't let her even touch the baby.
No.
So he said her and her husband demanded, and then when they kept demanding it, then they allowed them to at least see the baby, but they wrapped the baby up and put the head on the baby. So she still didn't know the baby. Don't laugh. That's not funny.
I'm not laughing.
They still didn't know that the baby, was decapitated. She didn't find out that the baby was decapitated until the funeral director told her, do you know your baby is decapitated? That's when they found out.
But how did they, so when they,
I don't understand
when they
how
were
the
holding
baby got decapitated.
When they were holding
it takes a lot to separate a head from a body.
Go ahead, Lenore. Hold on, Wendy. Wendy, hold on. Go ahead, Lenore.
Well, I'm just saying, how did they play that off?
They told you
just when they let
swallowed the baby, they never let her hold it. They let her see it through a glass. They swallowed it in a blanket,
and just put the head on top. Just kind of laying it
right. So she didn't know the baby was decapitated until the funeral director told her that the baby was decapitated.
I think the hospital is going to shut down.
So this
they're going to sue for every dime.
This black lawyer and his firm, they are suing. Now, this is how it all happened medically.
Of a Georgia baby decapitated during childbirth. We'll talk about their loss and what they plan to do next. That newborn's death has been ruled as a homicide. Good day, Atlanta's Caitlin Pratt live outside the Southern Regional Medical Center with the latest information. Caitlin, good morning.
Such an upsetting story. Good morning to you. Yes, this is about a half hour south of the city of Atlanta here in Clayton County. And this terrible incident happened, according to investigators, back in July. And since then, medical examiner investigators have been looking over multiple autopsies, talking with experts, and ruled this week that the little baby's death is a homicide.
30-something years. This was the first time I had ever heard of anything like that even happening.
It's one couple's story of loss that has shocked so many. Jessica Ross and Travion Taylor's son decapitated during birth at a Clayton County hospital in July.
Anybody who dies at the hands of another, that's the definition of a homicide.
A death certificate filed by the Clayton County medical examiner this week now classifying the baby's death as a homicide. Since the incident, ME investigator Betty Honey says interviews with multiple experts and several autopsies led them to that conclusion.
I actually consulted with a medical examiner. We've actually consulted with several people before we come up with, determine what the cause and manner of death is going to be.
In the delivery room, Ross and Taylor learned their baby did not survive the delivery and later learned he had been decapitated from the funeral home. When the couple asked to see and hold their child, they claim the baby was wrapped in a blanket with his head, quote, propped on top of his body to conceal the decapitation. A lawsuit accuses hospital staff of pulling on the baby's head so hard the bones in his neck were broken. According to the complaint filed in August, healthcare providers at Southern Regional Medical Center engaged in a, quote, persistent pattern of lies and deception to try and hide the facts surrounding the baby's death from the parents. It's now up to the district attorney to decide whether criminal charges are appropriate.
Nothing's going to bring the child back. I hope this brings some closure to the family.
And that police investigation here in Clayton County is ongoing. And as I mentioned, whether there'll be criminal charges or not, that remains to be seen. We'll, of course, keep.
Okay. Now, when they had them, they did another
autopsy?
No, they did another press thing today or whatever.
Oh, recently?
Yeah, the lawyer did. This is an old one that's on here.
That was last July.
Right. So they brought up, they just now are able to bring charges and all this stuff
Criminal
because
charges.
They had to get investigators and all that.
Yes.
The lawyer says they still haven't heard anything from the hospital. The hospital still hasn't answered back. They haven't done any dispositions. You know what I'm talking about? Depositions. They haven't done any of that. So he's saying he's still trying to hear from the hospital. They trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
So the cover up, what did
how can they cover that up?
Justice says the cover up always makes it worse. Yes. How would you do better just saying what happened and then paying them out whatever amount of money that they want?
Right.
Why would you try to cover that up? And why would you not tell her child didn't have a head?
Oh.
Why would that come from the funeral director?
Everybody in that room at the time she had that baby that's the shame. Shame.
Something is not right. Something is not right. Shame. Something is not right because how you going to decapitate a baby for cesarean?
No. She had it right. She had natural birth first.
You know how they pull the baby's head?
They was trying to pull the baby.
Too hard. They broke her neck bone.
It's not that easy. It's not that easy to separate flesh from flesh. Like that story I did on Sam Cooke when he was decapitated. You can't decapitate a man with a broomstick. It's hard to separate flesh from flesh. So that person definitely committed homicide because if he was a professional, that would have never happened.
Right. And they said
terrible force.
Yeah. And that was one of the things the lawyer said. Usually, if a professional doctor is met with something at that point, they call in other physicians because they don't want to do something. This is beyond my scope now.
Yeah.
He said nobody was called. Nobody.
Oh.
So they're going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay. But they did the thing today.
And that means that everybody in that room, nobody said anything.
Nobody said nothing.
Because I'm sure you got the anesthesists, you got the nurses.
Nobody.
That's assisting. That's 4 or 5 people in that room who witnessed that.
He said the scrub nurse, the nurses, they all protected each other. And so, and we know that from personal, what happened with my mom.
Yeah.
That they protect each other.
They protect each other. They do.
But he got what they was telling us to get. Another doctor, another medical agency to come in and investigate.
Yes.
And they said it was a homicide. So he got what they say you got to have to go up against the hospital.
And to your point, Wendy, for them to do that long of investigation, they looked at that body.
Yes.
And saw how the head was separated.
Oh, that was the other thing.
Yes.
They was trying to make her cremate.
Ooh.
They tried to make them sign off a thing. The lawyer said they tried to. It's a young couple. You can look at them. They tried to make them sign off a thing saying because your child passed away, you should cremate him. And the girl was like, I don't want to cremate him. They said, no, you have to. And she refused to sign the paper. They wanted to cover it up.
Good for her.
And they refused to, when they told her, she said, I want to see my child. They said, no, legally you shouldn't, you're not supposed to see the child.
They thought she was booping
after they passed. And they persisted. She said, I want to see him and touch him. And they said, we can't do that legally. They said, what we can do is you can see him through a glass. We can let you see him. And that's when they put the head on him and let her see it through a glass. They never let her touch. She never touched her baby. When the lawyer was talking about that today, she broke down. They had to take her out the room.
I would too.
She wasn't even allowed to touch the baby. She could never get that back. Never.
Can you imagine a mother and a father of that child?
Full term.
Oh, they need to take that doctor's license and burn it. That doctor should not practice medicine anymore.
So that's the
that hospital needs to take part of that.
Because they're too tough.
Yep.
I'm so angry.
So we'll pray.
We've had hospital issues in our family.
Yes.
My dad was going to have surgery.
And they was getting ready to give him the wrong anesthesia.
He had already had in his notes he was allergic to one.
They was getting ready to give it to him. He said it.
He had to tell him.
What is that you giving me?
Make sure you.
They was getting ready to kill him then.
Oh, hospitals. We've had family and friends who have died by the hands of a hospital. And
I don't want to beat up on doctors because they do a lot of good too. They do a lot of good.
I'm not beating up on doctors.
But when they cover up
like this
and cover ups, I don't like that.
They're not trained.
I don't like cover ups.
It's not even trained, Mom. Some of them are trained. They've been a doctor for years. They still mess up. That's why their insurance is so high.
The hospital
malpractice.
The hospital that's around, that's local, the one that we always said is no good. When you went in for COVID, they didn't want to give you a test. And we had to call our family doctor.
Yes.
To get on the phone with the doctor that was saying you didn't need it and say, why are you not giving her a test? And he was like, well, we only got a few.
We're still trying to figure this out.
And he's at a good hospital. The friend of ours, he works at a good hospital.
Yes.
He said, that doesn't even make sense.
He said, we would do that at where I work. No problem.
How you going to treat her for something and you don't even know if she got it or not?
Right. Oh.
So anyway, so the man, he said, for peace of mind, for my peace of mind as a doctor, and for her peace of mind as a patient, can you go ahead and do it?
And I tested
And the man
positive.
said, yes, I'll do it. The doctor said, yes. They didn't do it for my mom. Sent her home with some Advil. She comes home and falls out. She had COVID.
And we all got it because she was sick.
They would let you guys see me.
No, they could have killed the whole family.
When I came out on the ventilator, they didn't let y'all guys see me.
So I'm done.
I
don't like the cover up. That's what justice is right. The cover up is worse.
Oh my goodness.
I'd rather have you say I made a mistake. But a cover up, which means I made a mistake. Now we're all going to cover up.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I'm sorry, ma'am. We lost your spouse or your child.
Yes.
But you're covering it. Yes. Having her sign off to cremate the baby.
Yep. So you heard Wendy in the news report, that's how that baby was decapitated. They broke the bones in the neck. They broke the bones.
And the other specialists confirmed that.
And they severed the spine.
Yeah.
That's why it was so easy for the head to come off.
Oh.
Wow.
All right, so
they're a cute little couple too.
I pray that she.
Yes.
Oh my God, for healing for her.
Yeah.
And that she.
Oh
so
my God. Make sure
Wendy, when you pray
to put them in there.
I sure will.
Christopher says we going back to the rat hole. Yep, I used to live in North Kenwood. Oh, you lived in Kenwood. So you was next to me. I was Hyde Park.
Okay.
And when friends and family would come, they always wanted to see Obama's house and Farrakhan's house and the Rainbow Bush headquarters and other Bronzeville historical sites.
Yes, sir.
You're right.
Yes.
Do they live close to each other? Do they live close to each other?
Yeah, I lived in Hyde Park. Kenwood and Hyde Park is right next to each other.
Yeah, they're near each other.
They're neighborhoods in Chicago.
Obama?
Yeah, Obama lived in Kenwood.
Southeast, near the lake.
Near the lake.
South of the downtown area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Justice says they're all complicit.
Oh, yes. I don't know. Nurses will get off. Doctors have the high malpractice insurance, right?
Yeah.
Because the nurse can mess up a doctor messes up, he's sued.
Whoever the doctor is that did the actual pulling is the one that's going to be in trouble.
And I would feel bad as a nurse.
Yeah.
Letting that just shows you they didn't care about that couple.
Yeah.
They didn't.
All right, y'all. Moving on.
Go ahead.